bang, bang, bang. We are seeing teams drop like flies in this year's playoffs, and it's not just regular teams. Some of these are actually championship contenders. I'm sorry, Bucks fans, but Giannis was not enough to take the Bucks over playoff Jimmy Butler, because that man is another beast. And you know what? In case I get viewers that come over from my last video, we're not going to talk about it, okay? We're not going to talk about the title or the thumbnail. It's not going to happen. Playoff Jimmy Butler might be the best player to ever touch a basketball. I've always been a huge fan of Jimmy Butler, and it's not like I wanted the Heat to lose this series, but this man is something else. And I know it sounds crazy to say that Giannis wasn't enough for the Bucks when the dude dropped 38 points and 20 rebounds, but that's just how good Jimmy Butler is when it comes to playoff time. I don't want everyone to forget as well that Gabe Vincent and Bam Adebayo also had great games today, but the main player in this series was Jimmy Butler, so that's who obviously everyone's going to talk about because he's insane. I was actually at Golden One Center watching the Kings game because for some reason the NBA is so bad at scheduling their games, but during that game I had the Miami Heat game on my phone near the end, right? And I actually developed a circle around me to watch this game over the actual Kings game happening in Sacramento, because at this moment where the Miami Heat are down 2 with I think it was 2 seconds left in the clock, I mean, how could you not watch this and go, there's no way Jimmy Butler doesn't get the ball, right? And then he does this.
Over the top to Butler. Jimmy Butler!
Because how the actual fuck does that go in? Like, what are the odds for this shot to actually go in? It reminded me of the Luka Doncic shot that we saw earlier this year where he bounced it off the rim. Just that type of shot where he just grabs it and just throws it up. Like, no real jump, just throws it and it goes in. It's insane. Now, the real question I have, and hear me out, this is gonna sound crazy, is Jimmy Butler in consideration to be one of, or at least the top best Miami Heat players in franchise history? I know that that's saying a lot, and I'm not just saying this because he beat the Bucks in the first round of the playoffs, or, you know, he pulled off an 8-1 seeded upset, or because he went from the play-ins and now they're in the second round. None of that. It's not even about that. It is simply about what this man has done when it comes to performance and statistics under the Miami Heat franchise. It is another level. In my opinion, the only player that is above him in the all-time Heat rankings is Dwayne Wade, only because the man brought them a championship, or multiple championships, I should say, with the help of some other guys. But to be honest, if Jimmy Butler can bring a championship to Miami, he is getting that #1 spot, at least in my book, and that matters a lot because a lot of people want to be King Charge's #1 player, right? At the same time, I feel like a lot of people forget the Miami Heat were actually the #1 seed last year. Like, no one really talks about that and how good they were. They made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, which was actually further than the Bucks after the Bucks lost to the Celtics. Like, they did good, and they might go all the way back to the Eastern Conference Finals this year because they are going up against the next team I'm going to talk about, the New York Knicks. I'm not trying to say that in like a way where I'm dissing the Knicks, saying that they can't win the series, because they pulled off a crazy upset as well. Because as soon as the Cavaliers got Donovan Mitchell, it seemed like everyone said, at least I was hearing a lot of it, oh, this team might go to the Eastern Conference Finals or even the NBA Finals. Like, that was the conversation because they were that good and they are that good of a team. The Knicks on defense, ladies and gentlemen, they locked that shit up. And it's not that surprising because any team that's coached by Tom Thibodeau is going to have some really good defense. But bro, I mean, they locked up the Cavaliers, and you saw in that one game where they held the Cavaliers all the way to 32 points in the first half. I mean, the defense was crazy in this game. And I mainly want to talk about Jalen Brunson because of how good of a game he had today, and overall in general, he's been such a huge factor for the Knicks. He is the reason why they are doing this good and why they are this far in the playoffs. But I feel like it would be unfair to talk about one player when the entire team is doing so much. It is such a big team effort, and I love to see it. I just feel like the entire Knicks team deserves a lot of credit for making it this far. They all did so good and they all played such great team game. Love to see it. Talking about team game and team players, Josh Hart has been one of the biggest acquisitions for this team that is not nearly talked about enough. Everyone talks about the Jalen Brunson acquisition, which was obviously huge. I just said that. But Josh Hart has been insane for this team. And not even performance-wise, just the amount of stuff that this guy has done off the bench. Just having that one chemistry guy on the team that is so good for everyone. And we all know, obviously, that he's great friends with Jalen Brunson. But he's done so much for this team off the court. It is huge. The city of New York loves him. Huge for this team. Whether or not he's putting up 20 points or 5 points, he is doing stuff for this team. And as of right now, I haven't heard any update about Julius Randle, who did leave the game early. I hope everything's okay. Maybe by the time that this video comes out, there will be an update and we'll be able to hear kind of what happened. And hopefully we just get to see him back for round 2 because honestly, there's been way too many injuries this year. I know that there's injuries every year, but there's been too many injuries that really determine the outcome of a series, and it sucks to see. So hopefully Julius Randle's okay and we can see him back on the court. Hopefully everything's good. I just cannot wait for the second round. This is probably going to be one of my favorite matchups to watch because it's like we're seeing two underdogs go at it to see who can go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Whether or not you want to call the New York Knicks an underdog, that's up to you. In my opinion, they were against the Cavaliers. So yeah, moving on to the Western Conference, I need to talk about my team. That is the Sacramento Kings versus the Golden State Warriors. And yes, my team being the Sacramento Kings, if you are new here. We got the early 2000s tee on. Okay, I got no compliments at the game when I wore this, but you know, it's okay. It's okay. This game was just absolutely terrible to watch. I genuinely, it ruined my mood. Seeing my team lose in the playoffs ruined my mood. And I don't know what that feeling was like up until a couple days ago when they lost game 3. Simply because this team hasn't been in the playoffs in 16 years. We all know about that. But turnovers were terrible. The Kings couldn't take care of the basketball. There were so many times where you saw them steal the ball or poke the ball loose and they would just lose it. It was disgusting how quickly they lost the ball in so many possessions. But probably my biggest gripe I have with this team right now is rebounding. And I feel like the whole Draymond Green stopping out Sabonis thing was actually way worse for the Kings than it really seemed, because as soon as Draymond got suspended, they put in Kevon Looney. And the man has been getting 20 rebounds every single game. And we are talking about someone who is out rebounding the rebound leader in the regular season. Sabonis has been some ass on the boards. The entire Kings team has been ass on the board. I'm telling you, Gary Payton II is getting rebounds over some of our players. Gary Payton II got 6 rebounds. It is disgusting work out here. Sabonis is out here only getting 10 rebounds. It blows my fucking mind. It blows my mind. But if you're a Kings fan and you want to hear me say something that will brighten up your day, it is that Keegan Murray is him. This man was going crazy in the first quarter. The second quarter, I don't want to talk about. Third quarter, he was doing a little bit good. And then for the fourth quarter, nothing happened. And if you ask De'Aaron Fox, he said that he felt like it was the flow of the game that really just wasn't coming to Keegan Murray. But in the beginning, man, when I saw this man knocking down threes, I said, my fucking rookie. We've been waiting for that. He did good last game, but it felt like for the entire season, he's been kind of slow and not really doing much. But last game was the real game that picked up his confidence. He's been doing amazing. I love seeing it. Someone who isn't doing amazing is Kevin Huerter. I don't even want to talk about him. I've mentioned him every time I talk about the Kings in a video, because this is a guy as the best three-point shooter on the Sacramento Kings, which is a three-point shooting team. If he's not hitting shots the entire series, then we're gonna lose. Like, that is just how it goes. I don't know what happened. He had a small slump in the regular season. There was a tornado in New Orleans or some shit, so he stayed overnight and started shooting more threes. And then he was back to shooting crazy for the regular season, and it's just gone. It has disappeared. Where has Kevin Huerter gone? I don't know. Draymond Green had his first 20-point game since 2019. I don't want to talk about it, and I'm not trying to say that because I hate the Warriors or because, oh, I don't like Draymond Green, because I'm not even that, like, big of a hater on Draymond. Yes, I don't like him because of this series, and, like, yeah, that kind of sucks. But I don't really hate Draymond, like, overall. But I do not want to talk about that performance at all. I just don't. We're just gonna glide past it, okay? Draymond fans, I don't hate him. I just don't want to talk about it, okay? The Kings lost like 4 hours ago. I'm still a little bit butthurt. That's how it goes. And although it really feels like the Kings lost this series because they lost the game at home, which is where the Warriors struggle, I won't stop saying it because it's not fully over yet. Kings in 7. That is really all we have left. I'm going into game 6 with expectations to lose, but hopes to win. That is basically how it's going for me right now. For the Lakers and Grizzlies, I don't really have much to say about it. I feel like this would have been the game where the Lakers actually would have closed it out, but LeBron just didn't play good. Anthony Davis had a great game, but LeBron played like shit, and he said it himself. And I don't really feel like there's much to talk about in this game because they're still going to go back to LA. And if the Lakers can't win that game in LA, then it is just going to be a complete mix-up in game 7. I don't even know how that will go. I'm not even really thinking about the Lakers and Grizzlies games, though, because there's been so much else happening in the NBA. 2 huge teams that got knocked down, and obviously my Kings series that I'm really invested in. So yeah, I didn't really think about the Grizzlies or Lakers today, so I'm not going to talk about a game that I wasn't really watching or wasn't really there or interested in. So yeah, I'll probably talk about them if they go to a game 7 or if the Grizzlies get knocked out, because that would be another huge upset this year. But with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out a lot more than you think. And liking the video does push it on the algorithm, which helps out a shit ton. So I would appreciate that. So yeah, I'll see you guys all next video. Later.